the film users focus group. So there are a lot of very interesting pictures there at the convention center. That ends Monday, November 27th. And it's going to be replaced virtually the next day by the second exhibit, which is mostly out of the point and shoot booth, but it's cell phones. Any picture taken with a cell phone, so a lot of people have contributed to that. And it has been taking care of that. Jaime taking care of the other. Thank you. And then there's also the Friends of Lake Monroe / Bloomington Photography Club exhibit. It's at the Brick Room Gallery on the west side of the square. And that continues, I believe, through this month. Everything that was taken in the rather enormous watershed area of Lake Monroe. And I want to thank Raouf and the exhibition committee for providing all these brand new exhibition opportunities. Really, really nice. Thank you.
Tortilla.
Thank you. A major event is coming up next Sunday, November 12th. So that's the annual planning meeting, and that is the name.
Yes, thank you, Juliet. I want to invite everyone in here to consider coming to our planning meeting this Sunday. Isn't that tempting to come to a Sunday afternoon meeting?
I'm excited.
In this room here, this is where we map out our calendar for 2024. And this is, we will start the meeting with a blank 2024 calendar. And by the end of the afternoon, we will have it completely filled out with all of our programs for the year, our guest speakers, our tech tips, our photo shares, our field trips, our workshops, and any other our celebrations and special events. This is seen as a highly participatory grassroots initiative to get the club involved in the actual planning, vision, and implementation for the programmatic calendar of 2024. Now, I would highly encourage everyone to consider coming. It's this Sunday at 1 o'clock. We will be done by or before 4 o'clock. Now, if you cannot come, I would like to ask everyone and people there in Zoom land, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that feedback. I'd like for you to, and even if you can come, consider doing this. And it's called 111. I'd like for you to think of one person that you might want to invite as a guest speaker. One possible tech tip on any aspect of photography that you would like someone to do a tech tip. One possible field trip. Where could we go on a field trip? If you can't do 111, do 1 and 1. One tech tip and one field trip. Or photo shares as well. We do themed photo shares. Give us a theme for a photo share. Calvin, you think you could think of 2 things that you could email me?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, I know I'm pushing you there. Jack, you can do it?
Where is this going to be?
Right in this room.
Okay.
In fact, you could just stay here tonight. Now, it's important though that if you have a thought that you email that to me. And you don't know who I am, my name is Kip May and my email is on the website and in the newsletter. But if you email it to me, the reason you email it to me, I'll make this up. make this too long, but you email it to me, then we can type it up. And when we start the meeting, we have an initial brainstorm of each of our list of ideas that I've already given to them. And that saves a lot of time in the initial steps, and we will complete the process even quicker. Nora, are you as excited as I am about this?
Ideas, I don't have any.
Oh, you got lots of ideas. You gotta think.
Can you think of a possible photo share theme? Even a color would work. So I want to push you to think of one or two or three ideas that you can email to me so we can already have it printed up. It does not guarantee that that will be accepted by the group, but it does add to the initial brainstorm. We want everyone's participation, and we would be grateful for your input and your actual showing up here.
Okay,
Anyone have
Kip,
a question? Yeah,
Kip, where is here?
here is in the Monroe Library, room 2A.
2A.
Yeah,
Okay, thank
where we are located right now and where you are not.
right, right. Thank you.
And thank you, Becca.
Kip, I just wanted to say, if everyone emails you with lots of ideas, it makes the session on Sunday shorter.
Absolutely. Now if you come, if you're not careful, you'll have a good time as well. It's a high spirited meeting and it goes fast and you actually participate in something that is productive. We end up with a real plan for 2024. So, Annie, I know you're new, but we'd love to have you come. All right, I hope I didn't scare anyone off. Thank you.
Thank you, Kip.
Yes.
That was great. And it is rather fun, actually. Amazing what places one could go, that not very far from here on a field trip, for example. So, okay, are there any other announcements anybody would like to make either Zoom or here? Yes,
I was talking to this lady who's setting up Bloomington Art Supply on South Rogers,
yeah,
and she voiced some interest in possibly like stocking film. And I kind of wanted to like, and she was like, I just don't know what to buy. Like, I don't know what to stock. And so maybe it'd be interesting to get some ideas, like if people would be interested in that, so you don't have to call in all the time. Or if you just like know what you would want to buy.
Sitting by the guy that's telling you.
Yeah, okay.
all right.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's okay, Hamish.
Yes? Anything else?
Anybody else? No?
Okay, we now have a major treat tonight, and that is Bob Wren's photography of birds in flight. This is one of the top bird photographers of Indiana and beyond. And no, I kid you not, and many of us have learned so much from Bob and been to so many places with him where he knows where the birds are and his most gorgeous pictures. So, it's a tech tip, but much more than that. Thank you, Bob.
Okay. Are you ready to speak, Ro?
You already, anytime, sir.
Okay, I'm Bob Wren. I'm a photographer member, and I want to give a tech tip to our club. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
On the club on how to take pictures of birds in flight. And there are two kinds of pictures. One, birds in the distance, you can't really get sharp focus. One, close focus, less than 20 yards. You need a special camera for that. So I got three parts of my tech tip. And one of them is the camera settings. You should have a telephoto lens between 400 and 600 millimeters. Mine is a 500 millimeter camera, lens. And my camera has autofocus, push button on the back of my camera, and it will center the picture in the focus rather than focus. So you send it on the center frame focus issue. A fast shutter speed of 1,000th of a second or 1,600th of a second, so the camera doesn't wobble, where the birds aren't flapping away. And The f-stop should be about f8, so you get increased depth of field. And you should have, luckily, auto ISO, because the ISO, some of these pictures with rapid heart rate, or rapid camera rate can be 4,000 in the ISO. So Lightroom, you can get this printed out for the short focus, birds less than 20 or 30 yards away, sun to your back, so you don't have the shadows, and get the close focus picture. That's one half. The other half are people flying around in flocks, and you can't get all of the detail. So this is migratory birds are in a lot of these pictures. And right now, the sandhill cranes are coming down from up north. They're in Indiana. The next few weeks, they'll be over in Seymour and Brownstown. And you can go with club members in the car and drive over to these areas in your car and take pictures of the sandhill cranes flying by. You have to remember two things. You
Back
can't.
when I first became owner of Mint Mobile, I promised one of our first longest running Ignabi that
Excuse
I
me, keep everybody in line, can you please?
So how have I done so far?
mute yourself?
Well, it still works great, and it's still $15 a month.
So I've had no impact at all.
I guess not.
I don't know. She has to.
Rauf, the BPC monthly meeting has been muted.
I did that by mistake, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I think I can hear you.
Okay, so you want to be within 20 to 30 yards to get the short focus pictures. Next picture. These sandhill cranes, a lot of them fly over in Seymour and Brownstown, and they have red face in the face. Now the whoopee cranes are all white, and they'll be in the same picture. Next picture. When they fly by, if you shoot up at the sky, you might get shadows on them. If you have the sun to your back, you get light on the front part of the sandhill crane. Next picture. There's a pair. It's kind of cool, but there's shadows on the birds because they're in the sky. Next picture. And a bunch of them. So they're not really sharp focused, but they're pictures, and that's satisfactory. Next picture. But in the car, you can sit down next to the creek, and some of these birds will be flying by at 20 or 30 yards away. You can get some pretty sharp close focus pictures of the sandhill cranes. Next picture. And some of them you get closer to, they're throwing sticks around and jumping up and down. They're a lot of fun. Next picture. Then you can take pictures of the light in the background being too bright, so you get shadows on the front part of the picture of the birds. But this is over at Goose Pond in the sunset, so this makes a totally different picture. It's just not a close focus type of picture. Next picture. Now, Walt Sternham and I have been over to Brownstown, a place to take pictures of short-eared owls. One of my friends, my shotgun friends, told me there's short-eared owls over in Brownstown near Valonia. And we went over with our camouflage gear. That's Walt in his camouflage outfit. I took a small tent with me, and we were in these cornfields around this lake, or creek rather, and there were birds flying in the sky in a high, hard to photograph, or too far away, and there were hawks in there also, as well as the short-eared owls. So it was just a tough time. Next picture. Now I got in a ditch next to a creek, or next to a road in front of a tree. I was below the field lines, lying on my back the next day, and this short-eared owl came right to my face, and I got 20 yards away or so and got a good face shot. Next picture. He was really close. This is my first full frame close bird picture. Short-eared owl over in the south of Brownstown. And it was really fun to do that. Now that afternoon, we were going home. Walt took some pictures of these short-eared owls in a tree. And the sun to our back about 6 o'clock. They were really bright, nicely lit. They weren't in flight. But he got some pictures of the short-eared owls also. Next picture. Well, coming back home from Brownstown, we were driving up north on Route 446, heading to Lake Monroe. And we were by a cornfield of the lake. And in this tree to the right side of the truck was a owl, a bald eagle. I'm old and I have mistaken my memory problems. This is the bald eagle, my bad. So this bald eagle's sitting in the tree and we were amazed at that. It was right next to the road. And down in the road was some roadkill. So the eagle was looking at the roadkill. So we went farther north slowly, turned around and went back to the south. Because the wind was in the middle of the day and we wanted the sun to our back. So we parked the truck about a quarter mile away. And we walked north up to this tree slowly. And this bald eagle jumped out of the tree. It's a juvenile bald eagle, not a mature bald eagle. They get total white heads until they're 5 years old. These white spots in the wings indicate a juvenile bald eagle. Next picture, he flew right by. Another close focus picture about 20 yards away or less. Turns out a few days later, one of my patients told me that her father had a cornfield in Lawrence County next to a creek on Route 446. There's an eagle's nest in a tree next to the cornfield. So Walt and I went out a few days later, next picture, and took pictures of the bald eagles. There's a mature bald eagle with a white head in this cornfield area, about a half a mile from where this bird
I
was
can't
found.
compete with these people.
Half a mile when the juvenile bald eagle was in the tree, so in the same neighborhood, and there's a wide open cornfield. It wasn't very much hiding. We had camouflage gear in the tent, and we brought club members there for several visits for the next year or so to take pictures of these bald eagles flying around this cornfield. And in the tree was really high. You could see the nest was up high, too high to see anything in the nest. But one of these eagles stood on the top of the tree without any branches. A really nice photograph. There's a lot of our club members remember these pictures. Next picture. But we were in the afternoon, had the sun to our back, and these bald eagles are flying around this great photo ops. Next picture. And they were close to our camera, but we weren't out walking around the field, but several members were. Next picture. Same guy, just really close, lucky with the sun to our back, less than 20 yards. And actually 40 yards on this picture. And 1600 to the second on my shutter speed, F13, so we increased the depth of field. ISO was 1800, so that's processable in Lightroom. Next picture. Went back the next year, and this eagle was coming from Lake Monroe with a fish in its feet, heading to the nest, and the nest actually had a chicken. I didn't realize that. Next picture. So I got a picture of this eagle with the chicken in its feet. Again, sun to my back, close focus. Next picture. Another patient of mine told me she had an eagle's nest near her home on the east end of Lake Monroe. And Ann and I went over the telescope. We found this nest in a tree that was in a ravine, and we were on a ridge to the east of it, eyeball level with the top of the nest. So Walt and I went over there a few days later for several visits and took pictures of a bald eagle landing in this nest in this tree. And it was really fun to do that. And next picture. We went back the next year in the morning. Sun was to our back on the east, and there were chicks in the nest. And we went there before the April before the trees had leaves on them, but they're all trees, bushes, and branches, so we could hide and not be seen by the nest very well. Because they were looking at us, but we weren't very visible. And I took more pictures of this eagle and its chick. And Indianapolis had a photo contest for wildlife pictures, and they were on display at the Indianapolis airport for several months with this eagle and its chicks. It was fun doing that, but the next year that nest blew down in the wind, and the other nest where we were out in the cornfield with the eagles, the farmer that does the cornfield said the eagles had disappeared after 2 years of our club members out there in groups in open field. So we think we may have scared them away from their nest. Next picture. Now, one of my new friends, Debbie, in this club a few years ago talked about short-eared owls being in Sullivan County, which is west of town, on the other side of Goose Pond. My wife and I took over an hour to get to this area, and I've got a map here I'll use there. There's this nice downhill sloping hill next to the coal mines over in Sullivan County, and their cornfields, and there are houses around. I drove down the edge of this mountain, and there were some low spots where the short-eared owls were eating. Well, there was another car right in front of me. He's a photographer also. We all stayed in our cars, shot pictures out of the car, or got up next to the car, but we didn't walk out on the field to scare the birds away. And I invited other club members to come back there over the next few weeks. And we go in the afternoon about 5 or 6 o'clock, and the birds would fly up to the west. We get sun in their eye, and you can see the retina on this short-haired owl. Next picture. There were more of those flying around that area, and other club members had a really good time the next couple of years. So in January of this year, we could go back to Sullivan County, give you the directions, and hopefully these migratory birds will come in. They fly south of Indiana, and in January they come back to the north and spend a month there before they fly back to Canada. So that was a nice feature coming up this next couple of months in Bloomington area. Next picture. Now, I went out to the Bosque del Apache in New Mexico. The Bosque del Apache is waterfowl, waterland next to the Rio Grande River in the southern part of New Mexico. There, I took a photography course there with some professionals, and they took me out to these ponds, lakes, and mountains. And there's two kinds of pictures. One, the whole sky full of birds, lakes are full of birds, but then you want to get a close focus and sharp focus pictures like you would your children when you took their pictures. I was sitting on the ridge next to one of these lakes, and this goose flew right at me. And I thought it was a snow goose, because there were all kinds of snow goose in the pond. This is the blue goose. And it was a nice picture. So next year I went back to the Bosque del Apache, New Mexico. I took Walt and Carrie Sternman with me. Next picture. And we took a lot of pictures in the marsh of the cranes, the geese, and we had some really good photographs there. We were on a little road next to a creek that went north and south. We saw these waterfowl in the creek. Well, we backed up a little bit so we wouldn't scare them away, and Walt very kindly made a message to me that when you flush birds out of the water, they want to fly into the wind so they get airborne more quickly to fly. And there was a good breeze coming down from the north, so he was so kind to say, why don't he stay there near the ducks in the pond, and I could walk north about a quarter of a mile and stay next to the creek, but on the other side of the road, and he would flush these birds out of the creek. Well, he did, and the birds flew right by me, and this bird was colorful. I'd never seen a bird like this before. This is an American widgeon. They're native of New Mexico. We saw them in, later on a few days in a number of ponds with their green heads. They're really pretty pictures. But this is a neat photograph. Well, Ducks Unlimited is a company that recommends sending pictures of birds where you can duck hunt. Well, I submitted the picture to their calendar, and this picture was chosen for the month of October in the face of a calendar in the year 2020. Thank you, Walt. Yay! Birds fly into the wind. And I want to say, well, let's go back next year and I'll trade spots with you and fly in. But we'll consider that next year. So that was in New Mexico. Next picture. Now flying back home to get ducks and waterfowl, you can go to Stillwater Marsh. Now Lake Monroe was built in the 1960s. They flooded the whole area, put in a big lake. Migratory birds started to come down into Lake Monroe, but the diving ducks and the duck hunting couldn't be done in the big lake. So about 12 or 15 years ago, the Monroe County people made a marsh called Stillwater Marsh, about 30 to 40 acres. They put levees around this flat land. They took out the trees, leveled the ground, and in the summertime they planted corn. And on October 1st, they filled up this area with 3 to 4 feet of water and put up 10 duck lines. And the duck lines were metal and trees with branches and corn stalks around them. But they restrict being into that Stillwater Marsh area from October 1st to April 15th. They don't want the public scaring away the birds. But you had to get a permit to do duck lines. You have to get a permit to get in a duck line and take photographs. So you want to see Jill Vance, who has an office with Lake Monroe near Paintown, and Shine and Jerry Rominger can help you find her. I can give you her name. And you get a permit. You have to do some service, clean up the shoreline of the lake, or take photographs of some of their picnics and parties, and they use those for advertising public. Next picture. facing the, water. These are Shine and Jerry Romiger's photographs. And they had covered up their face, so the birds can see your white face and the duck lines, they get scared away. So they put camouflage and dark glasses on, so the glasses wouldn't reflect the light, and they couldn't see the white faces. But Jerry took a lot of photographs in Stillwater Marsh, facing west. He did this in the morning, about 10 or 11 o'clock, with sun was back. And the birds would swim along the water, the diving ducks would be diving in the ponds. And someone would fly by, and he had lots of photographs there. It was a really neat line. It's really close to McGowan Road. You can walk through this area. It's, there's also a viewing stand nearby. There's another duck line, number 1, on the south end of Lake Monroe. And there's a big levee along the south end of, I'm not Lake Monroe, my bad, my memory's screwed up. Stillwater Marsh. Sorry about that. The bottom end of Stillwater Marsh is a long levee coming from McGowan Road, and on the top of the levee is a road. So I went out there in the afternoon to take pictures, because the duck line was at the west side. I wanted to shoot to the east of the sun on my back. So I walked down this road with my tripod, my camouflaged clothing, boots, because I was going to be in forests of the water. And as I walked down the road, the migratory birds, it's swimming in the water next to this levee. Levee, they flew away and swam away. So I got in the duck line, camouflaged the area, put my camera on a tripod, with a towel over it, and I stood underneath the towel so I could shoot pictures out to the east without my face being exposed. And I had to wait 3 hours for the birds to come back. And so if you go out in the public area where birds are, you'll scare them away quite often. So you have to be camouflaged or be very quiet. But by 5 or 6 o'clock at night, next picture, we got pictures of the birds flying in. And this is a blue-winged teal. Again, less than 20 yards, these birds flew right by the duck line. There's some bushes in the background. There were birds 40 yards away or more, but they couldn't be close focus pictures. It was really funny to get close in this area. We took club members out there, and the Canada geese would come by and squawk if they saw us in the nest here in the duck line, and that would scare the birds away. So we really had to add to the duck line some more camouflage clothing. Next picture. The birds were in pairs. This is dating and mating season for them. This is in January or February. And these are local mallard ducks. They're native of Bloomington. And there's some wood ducks in their area also. I have some great photographs there. These are the mating and dating time, and they had their chicks in the next couple of months in the springtime. Next picture. This is a goldeneye diving duck. And it landed in the water right next to the duck line, 10 or 20 yards away. We got a lot of cool pictures like this. It's close focus pictures, not the big sky pictures. Next picture. This is the final picture of the mallard duck flying out of Stillwater Marsh. So coming up now in the winter, the migratory birds will be coming in. We'll take you over to Seymour and Brownstown. Please take a picture of the short ear, or the goldeneye, goldeneye.
Great.
And then, huh?
The cranes.
Cranes, thank you. Goldeneye and whooping cranes will be over there too. And then in January, if you get your permit from Jill Vance on her lake, you can get in the Stillwater Marsh and take pictures out of these duck lines if you wish. In January also, we'll go to Sullivan County, the other side of Goose Pond, an hour's drive away. We might get pictures of the short-eared owls flying down the little hill and flying back into the sun to get close motion pictures. So the birds are coming, yay! And I finished on my projection. Hope you like the close focus pictures.
Oh, I'm gonna take liberty to stop the screen for a second. Can I have some lights, please? If you don't mind. See something.
Bob, that was marvelous.
Okay.
Thank you, that was just bad.
Okay.
Thank you.
Short, close focus and big pictures. But you need to be careful, don't scare them.
This was absolutely beautiful. You think I may have a few seconds?
Yes.
So, today, right,
Mhm.
I'm here to honor you.
Thank you. Well, I made a PowerPoint presentation I can email you with 4 or 5 pictures, the data for your cameras, and about 4 or 5 pictures with the camera settings on the pictures. So if you email Rob or myself, I can send you a PowerPoint presentation to get the numbers of the camera settings set up so you can look at those for close focus pictures.
So,
And don't steer them away if you can help it.
so I just would like to have couple of things to say about Bob. And that's in behalf of all the members in this club that knew him for all the years he has here.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm honored to take a few moments to talk about Bob Wren. Bob has been an invaluable member of the BBC community. He has been great mentor to so many in the BBC club, and his contribution to the club have not gone unnoticed. You helped a lot of people, you mentored a lot of people, and you helped so many souls in this club. And I think everyone that knew Bob for a while can attest to one time or the other that then learned something from Bob. Bob shared his night photograph techniques and the choice location, as well as light painting, bird photography, bird in flight, star trail, just to mention a few. I was honored to be able to be with Bob when I was first new in the club to go in one of the outing. And he took us to this barn and we did light painting. And one thing with Bob is when he goes to the outing, he leaves the room, which it means that he will go to every single individual that's sitting with camera and ask them if they are doing okay, can I help them to do something? So he's always looking to help the people that they are with now. So this is something really important. Of course, it is just incredible. His contribution to the club, his leadership in both the lawn group as well as executive level are truly appreciated. So on behalf of the club members, I would like to thank Bob for his unwavering support and dedication to the club. His helpfulness to all members of the club has been remarkable. Bob, your contribution to the club have been invaluable, and you have been an inspiration to so many of us. Thank you for your dedication to the club and for being a great mentor to all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Dr. Robert Wren.
Thank you so kindly. Enjoy the pictures.
Thank you
No
so
better
much.
representative of what the.
And the birds will come in the next month or so.
Thank you, Rose.
You're welcome. If there is no more comment, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again.
Well, I would say we should do a standing ovation, but I don't know how to do one on Zoom.
Well, yours accepted. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and share the screen. And
The topic for the photos shared tonight, two of them, choice or both, is the chaos and bouquet-ish, that's BOKEH -ish.
who do we have first in here? We have first Carol Beal.
All right,
Carol,
so
is that with us?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so the first couple of shots are what I guess you could call chaotic. This was a porch decoration that I just kind of messed around with and came up with. I think it was last year, maybe the year before last. So I thought it looked a little chaotic. And this mama bear was probably about as close an encounter with a bear that I've ever had, but we were in a car, so I wasn't too concerned, but I was thinking about rolling up the window as she started coming closer to us. She's about 20 feet away. The rest of these are just some, I kind of had a hard time finding pictures with bokeh, so these were the ones that I could find.
Interesting.
Interestingly, just one weekend, there were spider webs all over the yard. And so I got some really cool shots a couple weeks ago. This one, I just thought it was interesting because the bokeh is just down there in the front. Usually you think about it being in the background, but this was right down here in the lower right corner, and I just thought it was kind of a cool shot.
Very nice, Carol. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Carol Kaiser.
That's not really bokeh, but it's kind of chaotic in colors. Just a close up, a macro shot of a gemstone and a brooch. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Yes.
That is a before example, and the next one is actually the bokeh. That's also a brooch of some sort of a pin. And that's the bokeh. Oops.
It's interesting.
That's the bokeh I made from it. That's a peacock. Okay.
What is this?
That's a Christmas ornament, plastic iridescent peacock tail. And the next one is one that's got some better bokeh. That's a bokeh I made from it. Just by putting it out of focus, yeah. And that's my chaos. That's a composite of a exploding merry-go-round of sorts. It's kind of for a book cover. I had about 15 different layers in that.
It's awesome.
The
Like that musician.
came from the horses came from the state fair carousels.
Thank you so much, Carol.
Welcome.
Next, we have Dorothea. Dorothea.
These are mine. I added the bokeh through shooting like a snow scene in on a sunny day and making it blurry or out of focus. And then I added it and blended it in with a shot behind this camera against red wallpaper. Added a nice sparkle to it. Mm-hmm. And these are Christmas lights that I was playing with and put it out of focus and then moved the camera.
Camera movement.
And this is when my bee shoot went out of control. So yeah.
What do you mean now?
Well, I just wanted one or two bees. And all of a sudden, and this is a friend of mine's kitchen during a party, and that looks like chaos. Although it's very well organized kitchen.
And that's when they have everybody some bands.
Oh my God, that's only one wall. It's your other wall.
Yeah.
And this is a statue on a wharf in front of the city, and that I did some solarization with it. He just looks like he's, I don't know, confused and chaos. I don't know.
Great job. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry. This is Jerry.
Okay, that's me.
Yeah.
These are the first three are chaos. Several years ago, south of town, there was a train wreck. It was a freight train. It I mean, tumbled all apart, a huge mess of wheels and it was just a chaos. And I went there, having read about it, and I asked the foreman who was standing outside, would I take some pictures? And he said, well, yes, but if anything happens to you, we're just gonna dig a hole. Where it is. So I said, okay.
That was not very comfortable.
But if that happens, would you please take care of my dog? She's in my car. So anyway, these are pictures which can't even capture what the chaos was. I mean, it was, so go ahead.
It was, yes.
You could hardly see the two men in there. And they were just, you know, the last picture shows how they felt about it. Oh, no.
Can be heard.
Say again?
Or it can be heard.
And these are the bouquet.
Shoots off.
You faded those. I haven't pulled it, what I forget. I did a few things to it.
Just a few.
Messing fast.
Very nice, yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna skip mine for now. Tanya? Tanya, you still with us? Hello? She's Good.
Think she is bound for trouble.
Yeah, I know what she is. I didn't think Tanya with us, but we're gonna go ahead and review them anyway. Spy. Okay. Well, there is Eddie.
Yeah, that's my.
Take it from there.
Yeah, I apologize, I evidently didn't read the part about chaos.
That's okay. I didn't either.
This is a shot I took in Rome a couple of weeks ago. Trying to sneak in on street photography. Still working my way toward that. I took this one this morning, actually. That's a bamboo placemat with a leaf on the placemat with sunshine coming in on. That's probably a 12-image focus.
You have to get from the right to the left or from near to far?
No, near the car.
Near to far.
This is in the Vatican.
Wow.
So I used a 14 millimeter wide angle lens.
Fish eye.
When you try to, and you couldn't really focus that, you could bring a tripod in there, but they did a lot of photography. It's like, it's a spectacular area, all the domes and the painting and so forth.
That's really cool.
Thanks. And when you work with a wide angle lens like that, I mean, if you think about like if you're looking at a landscape, try to get down low and get the foreground up in front of you and not lift up above it. So when you're looking vertically at something like this, that concept works really very well.
Were you lying on your back?
No.
That is phenomenal, metaphorically.
Yeah.
And also, when I was walking around the Vatican, there were these sunbeams coming in, so I'm looking for the sunbeams. That changes all the time. In fact, I thought somebody could probably write a book about it or an app telling people where to go at this time of day in the Vatican or other areas too, when the sun's coming into sight. This is the Pantheon in Rome. That hall up there is wide open when I was shooting this. Again, that's my 14 millimeter. Rain was coming in that hole, so it's just wide open for water, and that's like an ancient, Roman structure that was converted over to a Christian thing. That was like 650 AD or something like that. That's looking straight up at the dome. And then I wish I was tempted to, but it was just too crowded to lay down, like you said. Lay down. I put it back on a little bit more. You got the entire dome.
In there, actually.
Nice job. Okay, I did not follow the rules either, but in honor of Bob, I decided to do something different. So we got the balcony in here. And by the way, those pictures in here, and I'll come to the story in here in just a minute. I'm just gonna go through these. This is just birds, you know.
Yeah.
Birds, you know. Birds and flies,
Oh, good.
little crane. Now, so why am I showing this? It does not really pretend to anything in here. Well, Bob and I had the opportunity at one time or the other, and if you remember that or not, we went to switch yards. And it was some kind of bird fest. And our job was to present this club in there. And we had this table, our camouflage, we were wearing our camouflage, and then we have to present our camera equipment. I have to explain to people how to use it. And then we had to go back and we had a whole slide show with birds and their names and the incident that we took and so forth. So we're two old folks making fool of ourselves. That's the best way to, you know, and that's what our table was. You can see it's all camouflage, we have the seat in there camouflage. What I did not show in this picture, because I did not have one, and I was trying to find them. Bob also have a tent that's camouflage. And man, I telling you, people were running in and out of it and so forth. And when I made my presentation, Bob made me really make fool of myself. That's me. That's where my galley. So one of the things was the people coming there and the kids were really impressed with them. So, you know, you put your gun suit in, stand by the tent, and now you disappear, and you have your camera and all that stuff. So I just quickly got this in to just honor Bob today. But this was it for our photo chairs. I'm gonna stop the sharing. And then, does anybody online have any questions? Have some chats in here, and I can, you know. Everybody was happy with the presentation, I guess. Anybody has an announcement? Anybody has comment? Anybody? The floor is open now for anything. We still have a few minutes to be able to cover. Nobody?
A question about your focusing
Yes.
with the bird photography.
Yes.
Like recently, my camera's got like the 3D, so you camera to the eye of the bird and stuff like that, which I'm
Yes.
struggling with that. So how do you keep your focus? Do you have
Back button of your camera, just keep autofocus, to make sure you get the center part, not the full frame. Just put your finger on the back part as you look at the bird go by, and then you click the picture.
So you keep it on the center as opposed to trying to get the little birds?
Pardon me?
You try to keep the focus, the hot spot for focusing in the center of the.
Center, yeah, put the bird in the center of your camera and put the focus center. Some cameras will do that, but some cameras will have autofocus with full frame. If you can get one that's narrow, that's the hot shot for these birds.
Are you Canon or Nikon user?
I have a Nikon D850.
I get D850, I get the Z9 too. The Z9's got 3D focusing, so if you get it locked on to an eye, it will follow.
Yeah, so that would be similar to the Canon I have. So I have 5R. And then 5R, what I did was I programmed actually 2 back button focus, right? So my first back button focus, I'm focusing on a bird. Once the bird is clear to me and one point to the other, I switch to the other focus. And what that does is it just focuses on the eye. Once it begged the eye, if I kept it focused in, the camera will keep focused. It doesn't matter how many pictures you take. So one, you're focusing on the subject itself. And then once you lock in the subject and you try to figure out, I guess, the flying, you know, pattern, then you go ahead and lock your 3D in your, you know, in my case, it's just an eye.
Yeah, I was just saying back button photos. It would follow like gulls. I was shooting
Right,
gulls from the back
right.
of the ship.
Yeah.
And that worked pretty well.
Sure.
but I haven't been around that many birds yet to give it a really try.
Yeah,
But I was hoping to do that with bees. Does not work.
no, that will not work. I've been trying that for years.
Because a macro, I mean, maybe a huge, at least as big as a bird would be much sure. But it finds contrasting objects outside beyond the bee that will eventually lock onto.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that for years and I cannot get the people to get them everywhere. I mean, I get a decent picture, but not really anything that I can talk about, they are, they are moving too fast for me.
Give them some honey.
She
Oh,
knows how
I
to
get
track
them, well,
it,
now,
Yeah.
I don't know, man, they invited you that day. I did used to have a tree that one day I woke up in the morning and it has the whole hive was on the top of this tree. And I enjoyed that for a couple of years. And really, the honeybees, they're very docile. I mean, I used to walk just close to them and take pictures with even my iPhone, and they just don't bother me. But one year they just disappeared. They just left. Well, that was fun. So it was fun to go in there and see them.
Anybody else?
Anybody else have a question? Anybody online have a question? I guess not. I'm not getting any response from them, so my assumption.
Hope you enjoy having the new members join the club.
Yeah. All right, I guess that concludes our meeting for this month, and thank you for being here or there.
Well, thank you, Juliet. Thank you, everybody, for attending. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
like,
Oh, guys.